Hello guys, my name is Adrian and welcome to my channel. Of course, this is a new stream after a very long period, almost 6 months, and recently I had the possibility to start a new collaboration with a 2D artist, and what the best way to create a new game by starting to make a simple prototype. This is a game similar with the Project Stone, one that I started 6 months ago, but I want to be much simpler. And of course, I want to make it in a very short period of time. So what we have here on screen, we have some tiles. Of course, the graphics is just for the prototyping. We don't have real graphics yet. So we are having some tiles that we will gonna use. We have some, let's say, units that we'll place. And these units will kind of, let's say, will be part of some armies that, of course, will be represented by these flags that we will put on some world map together with the buildings, which will act something like, let's say, for example, the keep. It will be like a fortress that you will need to kind of conquer it. And you'll have some additional, let's say, buildings for the farm, some quarry, some tower, and this will kind of give you some boosts. So, like I said, this game, it will be not similar with a tower defense or so, but it will be more like you have a keep in the middle of the world and some evil forces will try to attack you. And of course, you will need to expand your, let's say, sphere of influence, or how to call it. So what we're going to do today, because it's a new project and I want to make it very quick and dirty, we'll create a new repository. Of course, it will be private because I don't want to kind of put it in public there. We will use our framework that we are creating on stream. Thank you, thank you. So we will kind of have, and we will use the framework that we are just creating in the videos. And what we're gonna do, we will just start and work on it. It is a little rough because, I don't know, 6 months without any live stream, just videos. So it will take me a while to adapt. So let's call this just generic fantasy game. Let's check if the fantasy is correctly spelled. Okay, that's good. Okay, we have the fantasy game. We want to add a readme. It's private, like I said, no license for now. Let's create a repo. So the whole idea for this graphics, we have each element separated in a PNG. We'll take each element and we'll try to make it into some simple prototype. Okay, what I want to do more, the settings. No, first, let's go into the branches. Let's rename this. I don't know. Let's call it release or develop. Doesn't matter. Okay, we have it. Let's just rename it. Good. Let's create another one. Let's call it release. Okay. And let's go and make, okay, the develop is already the first. That's quite good. Let's take the code. Second. Okay. And we have our project here. So the first thing what we want to do, because we are using CMake, let's add a simple CMake file, like always. Let's skip this. And let's add the first module that we are using. And the first one, it will be the platform. Okay. Let's add it as a submodule into our project. So let's open the terminal. Okay, git submodule, add. Okay, and let's put it in the folder modules. And let's call it platforms. I hope I misspelled it correctly. Not misspelled, spell it correctly. So platforms, that's okay. Good. We have our first module. Let's also here, let's have a CMake file where we will include the platform module. That's okay. Okie here. Just a second. Let's load the project. Okay. So what do we need here? We need to declare the CMake minimum required version, which on my PC I have for 2.0 installed. Let's reload this. That's quite okay. After that, let's have a project name. Let's call it fantasy game for now. Okay. And let's have an executable for this with the same fantasy game. And what remains for us, add subdirectory and of course the module. That's quite okay. We don't have any sources yet. So what remains for us? Let's add a new folder. Let's call it runtime. Why not? Let's add a CMake file here. So let's add a folder core. This will be similar in structure as we have for our modules. So nothing new here. Probably for you that you guys that are already like on this channel for a long period of time, you saw that I'm using a lot of CMake files. So, and this structure with a lot of folders and a lot of CMake files is not something new. And inside the core, let's add also a source file with main. That's quite okay. So here, let's add a subdirectory runtime. We are finished with that. In the runtime, of course, we need to add a subdirectory for the core. That's maybe this core can be put later on inside some game folder. Why not? We can try that. Okay, we have the core here, and inside the core, let's do the following: target sources, project name, private, and let's use the main file. Now we should have, okay, so the project is, let's compile it for a second. Of course, we'll have some error. Let's go here in the settings. Of course, this thing will do it just once. Just a second. Okay, we have Visual Studio. Let's put some CMake build folder here for the name. Okay. Let's see if we are successful. Okay, the compilation is done for the CMake. Good. What we are missing right now is just a simple int main with just a simple return 0. So we are good to go. We can write the code. Now we added the main as source for our project. We need to add also the platforms modules. And let's have it like this. Project name, private, and let's have it platforms module. Okay, let's reload it to make it available. And what remains for us is to create the okay, I think it was quite good. So let's start. First, let's create simple window width. we'll use the classic 180. Okay, the same for the height. Okay. We need some settings for our window. So for first, I think we need to add, include our window manager. And now we'll have some core window settings. Okay, and it we will do. Let's call this fantasy game window width and height, of course. Okay, dokie. What we need to do first for window manager, and let's have this window manager. After that, window manager init, and the parameters for this are some platform factory, which is just abstraction design pattern for our platforms. So what will you we will use? It will be core platforms factory and create, and inside this we'll kind of create a specific platform factory for Windows. Okay, let's go back, and the last parameter for our init function is the window settings. What we can have further here is to have an auto window active, which is true. Why not? And what we'll do with it for our window manager, we'll have the events and we'll have a callback. And the callback will be for the on close. And of course, we will use some, just a second, window active. Okay. And for it, of course, we'll not return anything. We'll have just exception. And we'll have the window active as false. So every time we will close, we will kind of press the X button for the window. We will just call this, we'll have this callback called, and we will set up the window active as false. That's quite one thing. Okay, what remains for us to do right now? Just a second. Window manager, window, of course, dot show. So now we will kind of display the window. That's one thing. I'm not doing anything regarding the, let's say, the OpenGL initialization and all that stuff. We are interested just to open the window for now. So, like our AI already suggested, we can have a while the window is active. What I want to do is the window manager update, which inside will just update the events. I can kind of go outside and just not have the update. Just call the window manager events directly. And what remains for us, and I think we can do it already, window manager, context, and update. I could kind of put this context inside the updated I wanted, or kind of here have something like events, update, but I put it like this because at some point we'll not have OpenGL anymore. We will use Vulkan. So for Vulkan, we'll not need it to create the context like we are doing for OpenGL. So that's the reason we are using like this. And the window manager at the end, of course, we need to destroy everything. Let's run the project to see how it is working. Something is not working because we are using C++ 17. Let's see exactly how to enable. Just a second. Okay. Let's have something like CMake, I think it's called. C++ standard. And let's put 23 to see if it's working. Let's run this. Of course, just a second. Let's enable also the reload for the CMake. It's very strange to do a live stream after a very, very long period of time, but I hope at some point I will kind of unlock the power of the live streams. So let's see if the CMake will run again. I hope you are hearing me well. Okay, so let's try to build it. Everything is okay. So we are having a window, a big window, of course, because we already added the dimension for it. So that's quite okay. We have our window. Now what remains for us to do is to initialize the graphics, okay, for the OpenGL to be able to use all the objects. And after that, to start adding the other parts. So what remains for us to do is to go inside the terminal and let's have some other. First, I don't know, let's add the graphics module. Why not? Let's copy this. Okay, just a second. Some message around here. Good. Git submodule add, and we will use the modules and graphics. Okay, let's also delete this folder. So now what remains for us is to add a subdirectory for the graphics also. That's quite good. And what remains for us is to initialize the OpenGL. It should not be a very, very, very hard process. It is quite simple. So every time you are using OpenGL, you kind of need to get your functions, okay, or the pointers to the function. Depends how you want to do it. So you need to do that after you are, or you can do it before it's showing the window, but we will do it after. So what we will do, it will be OpenGL functions, and we'll call init. Of course, it will not work because we didn't include our graphics module. Let's hope that we can compile without any problem. Okay, so it seems that we don't have any problem. We have quite one now. Let's go and let's have OpenGL functions. HP. Okay, so now we are having the OpenGL functions. That's quite okay. What we can do, we can try. Let's see, to clear the screen and to have kind of like a white color applied, at least for us to see that it's working. So I will not use the OpenGL functions directly. I will just use my wrappers, or how they can be called. So after we are updating the window manager, what we want to do, we want to have like an OpenGL commands. Okay. And, or let's first add it here. Why not? So let's have OpenGL commands. And for these commands, we'll use the clear function, which will take 4 parameters with 1.0 as a value, which will mean that it should clear our screen with the white color. And for this to have an effect for us, we need to have the commands and clear the color buffer bit. How we are doing that, we'll have OpenGL stands, of course, and color buffer. Let's run it again. Good. And now we are seeing our window that it's kind of white. It's not something wrong with it. We'll just try to put 0 to see that the color is different. Okie dokie. So you see it's working. That's quite okay. And I will keep it with 1 for now. That's quite okay. And it's quite nice. What we need to do further. We need to add two new modules for our project. So the first one, it will be the resources module, the one that will have for us the shaders. As you can see here, we have the shaders in our module. So that's quite very, very, very important. So let's copy this. Let's go to our terminal, hit some module, add, and we'll have the modules resources. That's quite okay. And let's also add the tools. Probably at some point the tools will be removed. For now, what it does is just having some, let's say, some simple code that we'll just use some external application to convert our OpenGL shaders or GLSL shaders to the Vulkan type of shaders. So at some point, probably I'll remove it, but for now, we need it. So git add, no, sorry, git some module, add modules, and let's call it tools for now. And if we are doing this module adding, let's do something like this. So we have the resources, tools, platforms, graphics. Let's add the common module, which most of the time has the mathematics in it. And of course, not just the mathematics, it's also the file reading and all that stuff. So git module add, and for it, modules, and let's call it common. Of course, I'm not using a game engine, so I need to add these modules. A package manager will be great, but for now, this is what I have. At some point, I hope this framework will evolve and I will not need it for each project to kind of add manually the modules. But for now, this is what we have. So let's add the graphics, let's add the resources, let's add the common here. And of course, at the end, we need the tools. Okay, so let's see, make kind of so those folders. We have the platforms. Let's add the common module first, platform graphics resources, and at the end, tools module. That's quite good. Let's see. What we need to do. I think the first thing that we want to do is to go inside here. No. The problem it will be like our executable, it's somewhere around here. And we don't want that. We want to put it inside other, let's say, destination. Something like a build folder. And I don't remember exactly. Let's see if I remember the property to do that. Because for the other projects, I'm kind of using some CMake preset JSON file with a lot of things. But for this, I don't know why I didn't do that. Maybe I should go and copy that. I think it will be much easier. So just give me a second to go around some folder and let's drag some CMake preset. Okay, let's add this. So that's quite okay because right now we don't need to specify the standard. And for it, we have also the build, the CMake. That's quite okay. Okay, let's try to see. Okay, so let's enable this profile. I think it's much better. Okay, and if we are building now, we should see the executable inside some build folder instead inside of CMake. Okay, so the build is here. That's quite okay for us. It's very helpful. Why? Because now the first thing that we'll do, it will be to kind of convert all the shaders that we have in our resources. how I'm doing that with my framework, something like shader converter, convert each. Okay, and for it I will use some base shader path, which will indicate exactly something inside the kind of this folder. Okay, this is kind of a path to this. And what this convert each will take, like each file, each OpenGL or GLSL shader, and we'll try to make it into the SPRV, or how it's called, the Vulkan way of shaders, which of course was added inside OpenGL at some point. Okay, let's have it something like, I think I have a parameter like -1 to do them all, but I can have also some period of time, but I think -1 will convert like all of them. So I was right, we have all the shaders, and now if I'm using 0, for example, I will not redo them again because I don't want that. Otherwise, it will try to make them again and again and again. So let's check inside the build. We have the vertex, or not just the vertex also, but all the shaders, which are kind of binary now, like compiled. That's quite good. What remains for us to do is to start creating some shaders in terms of the, let's say, the OpenGL. So what we need to do, I will do something like this. Let's add a bookmark. Okay. Let's see, where are the bookmarks here? Okay, here. So let's have it like this, because we will kind of need to go like up, down, because for today we will kind of write almost everything in just one file. So that's very exciting. So we will need to add some bookmarks, otherwise we will scroll a lot, and we don't want. We want kind of to go smooth, like up and down. Okay, so good for us. Of course, very important after we initialize the OpenGL functions. Otherwise, it will kind of fail. Let's have OpenGL shader stage, of course, and let's have the sprite shader vertex. At some point when our game framework is kind of, let's say, a public template and it's more advanced, maybe we will kind of just copy that or extend a new repository from that template. But for now, we'll do it like manually. Okay, constants, and we have the vertex shader type. Okay, what we do after that, we're kind of having the sprite shader vertex, and we use the create. That's very important. And after that, we just need to go with the source. We don't need to compile because the shader is already compiled. It's in a binary form, but it's compiled. So we don't need to compile like in the old way of OpenGL. Of course, I have a video on my channel. If you're curious how to work with these binary shaders, it's already there. So if you are curious, you can go and do that. So let's continue. For the source, we'll use the core. Of course, let's include the file. This is included in the common module. So we'll have a core file. And for it, the file, or my file class in my framework here, kind of reads just binary format. You can kind of use it for the normal text, but by default it will read binary stuff, because I observe most of the time you are just doing things with the binary. So file read, and what we'll do here, shaders slash, and we'll have base, right? I think this will help me to see the names. So we'll have base sprite shader, of course, and the vertex extension. I'm trying just to run this to see that it is working. That's the very important part. So it's working, it's not crashing. It means that we are kind of having a stage. Why I'm calling this the shader stage? In classic OpenGL, you have them as shaders. Okay. and the other element is the program. But in my framework, because at some point it will be converted to Vulkan, we have something like stages, and the program is a shader here. Okay, let's have the fragment. Also, we'll use the autocomplete from the IDE to kind of do the fast part here. And what is remains for us is to create the shader, which the shader doesn't have any parameters. So sometimes the AI will kind of put you in trouble. Let's have the, just a second, let's have the sprite shader. And for it, for the sprite shader, of course, we need to create it. We need to attach each of the stages. And at the end, we need to link it. So what it happens here behind the scenes is kind of like you have two projects or two libraries, which in our case are the stages. And what you're doing with them is like you are linking like in a, let's say, normal compiler stuff. Okay, so this linking is the same similar situation as you have for our, or as you have for a normal compiler. Okay, but this happens on the GPU, so you don't need to worry. Okay, so we are having this. Let's also first, maybe, let's go with another one, OpenGL. Let's add the, let's say, the one for, that will help me to debug some stuff. Okay, it's very useful sometimes to have some debug mechanism. So OpenGL, shader stage. Okay, and we don't have the compute. Okay, of course. I will have it the debug shader vertex, and it will let the AI to autocomplete. Sometimes you need to check because let's see now this is the base debug shader, I think it's called base debug shader vertex. Okay, that's good. And let's have also, and of course at the end, you see sometimes AI can help you if you know how to use it, not just running a lot of agents with a lot of money to do stuff. Okay, so if we are running right now, we can see that we are having our debug situation, we are having our shaders. That's quite good. What do we want to do? Okay, let's see first in our shaders what we are using. Into the debug, we are using two uniform buffer objects, one for the camera, one for the transformation. So we need to create two uniform buffer objects at least. And let's see for the sprite, I think it's the thing is similar. So two uniform buffer objects, just a second. And yes, we are having a third, the material, but now the albedo color is not used as per my comment here. Okie dokie. So what remains for us to do? Let's put another bookmark here. I don't know how these bookmarks work. What is this mnemonic? Just a second. Okay. Oh, nice. If you are moving the line, it will kind of also move the, that's quite nice. Okay, so first, of course, let's include the buffers here because otherwise we'll have problems. Let's have include OpenGL buffer. Okay, let's sort it good. So, like I said, we need at least two uniform buffers objects. OpenGL buffer, and we'll have one for the camera UBO. And for it, we need to create it, of course. And after that, what we'll have, it will be a camera uniform buffer object. We will need to decide the storage, like the size of this buffer on the GPU, because we don't use the dynamic stuff. We just need to kind of have all the memory upfront. So for the storage, size of, and we'll have the core data camera. Okay, this is just a structure that I'm having here. Let's first try to include it. Let's put it inside here. for data camera, and let's use also something for the transformation. Okay, let's auto hide this because it will kind of. Okie dokie. So the parameter here it will be OpenGL constant, and it will be called dynamic draw because for the uniform buffer, most of the time you are updating the information. So you need to flag kind of the GPU that, hey, I'm using something that will kind of change the information inside. So dynamic draw, it will kind of be something useful. I mean, for the performance mostly. Okay. And what we need to do further, of course, we need to have the camera UBO and the binding situation where we are having an OpenGL constants. Okay, uniform buffer. And we'll have a core as base. And this as base behind the scene will just kind of convert an enum to some int. Okay, because for OpenGL you cannot send the enums. You just need to specify an int. So we have the core binding buffer, and we'll use the camera. Of course, we need to include some headers. Let's put also some bookmark. I don't know, let's say around, no, not a breakpoint, sorry. Let's have a bookmark here. And now we can kind of move like directly. That's quite okay. Good. So let's have something like core. Sorry, it was core binding. Nice. The graphics. Just a second. Oh, it was binding. Okay. Someone changed the situation. I hope it was not me or it was me. Just a second. Let's check the modules. Okay, this is still with the code. Good. Okay, so let's have something for the buffer. Let's have something for the texture. At some point, I will move this back again to the core folder. Why? Because there is a better. So we are having our uniform buffer object. Let's try to use the bookmark to kind of go back. Of course, we need to add some other thing. Just a second. Include core utility, which will have this as base, which does something like some weird cast for our enum. So I don't want to use the long situation there every time, so that's why I created the as base. Let's try to make a build to see that it's working, that we have problems. Just a second, build. So the build is okay. Let's run it to see that it's not crashing. Good, it's not crashing, that's okay. What we can do further is to create the other one. So OpenGL buffer, and this will be the transform UBO, create storage, and the binding, the correct information. So this binding, it's what we are having in the shader. It's this binding that it kind of needs to be the same. So that's very important. Okay. So we are having the uniform buffers. That's quite okay. That's quite good. What remains for us? What remains for us? First, we will kind of have, let's say, like a, let's put it here, maybe. Let's have it, or I don't know, you have the shaders. Yeah, let's create the buffers here. Okay, we'll have something like, I don't know, let's put a comment here like shaders. Here, let's call it buffers. Of course, this will not be the final form for our situation. We will kind of move things inside some classes. We'll kind of not use everything inside the main file. And of course, we'll have some a renderer class at some point, some resources class, and some other parts. But for now, this is what we have, and we need to write a lot of code. It's good that the AI help us to kind of, let's say, write the code faster, but that's quite okay. Okay, so we have the buffers. What remains for us to do here is very very simple, I will say. I'm trying to do some axis. Okay, so the first drawing element that we want to do, and what we will have, for example, it's the following, but how to put it? I want to put it there. No, let's have it. So we'll have something like auto, and I will call it axis vertices, axis elements. Okay, and it will be something like core geometry. Okay, geometry, and what we'll use from here, it will be gizmo, and I'll have it called axis. Let's, I don't like this sometimes, but we need to do what we need to do. So let's have it something like gizmo. That's quite okay. Let's go back. So for this, the gizmo, because I'm trying to kind of display things in 2D, we need to kind of put a very big value. So let's have something like this. Okay, of course, again, this is a gizmo that is kind of some axis that has is 3D. So you have the X, Y, and Z. But for us, what we are going to do, we'll just have as visible just the first part, the first two parts, two elements, X and Y. What we need to do after we are having this thing, so our axis will kind of return some geometry, which will kind of represent 3 lines. That's very important to remember, and to be sure that when you're kind of treating the drawing part, you are kind of specifying the correct axis element size. But let's get there. So OpenGL, let's call this uniform buffers, and let's have another one here. Not this one, last this one. Okay, so let's have OpenGL buffer, and we'll call it axis VBO. Why not? Okay, and for it, we'll have it. We need to create it. Okay, and we need to use the storage. But how we'll use the storage, not like the AI suggested. It will be something like core as bytes. Okay, another utility function that we're having. And we're transforming some vector into some span, which is just a viewer. It's not kind of owning the memory. So the whole idea is that you're kind of sending not a copy, but like a, let's say in a way, a reference to the GPU. So as bytes, and we are using the axis vertices. And of course, we'll have an OpenGL constant, and we'll have the static draw here because why? Because we are not changed the information. So we're missing. Okay, so it's fixed. Now we need to do the same for the element buffer objects. Let's use the AI with the full force. And what remains for us here is first to kind of include another, just a second, include OpenGL vertex array. That's quite okay. And what we need to do, let's post also a comment here. Let's have something like, I don't know, debug buffers for now. Why not? So OpenGL vertex array axis VAO. Let's create this. First, we need to kind of attach, just a second, we need to attach the axis VBO first. Okay, and we need to specify also size for vertex. So we'll use the basic which the basic means that we have a position and some extra, which can be in some cases the color, it can be in some cases some normal. We are using just the color for now. And we are also attaching the elements. Okay, but for the elements, you don't need to specify the size of the element. Most of the time, you are using the default one, which is the the unsigned int. Okay, so we are having in here axis VAO. Now we need to inform this vertex array how our, let's say, geometry is formed, or how the vertex, the layout, because we are kind of specified that, hey, I'm having a position and some extra, but the GPU doesn't know how to kind of read this structure. So we need to kind of inform the GPU. So let's have attach. And for it, we'll use 0. We'll have something like offset off. And for it, we'll use the core, geometry, vertex, basic, and the position. We will kind of specify that we have 3 elements because vec3 most of the time has 3 elements. OpenGL constants, and the type is the float. Okay, let's also include this. Why not? Where is included? I don't know, but it was included somewhere. Okay, so let's go back. Let's add another one, axis VAO, attach, here 1, and the parameter will be extra. And of course, it will not be 4 here, it will be still 3. Let's just check again. So we have 1 and 0. That's quite okay, quite good. What remains for us to do? What remains for us to do? It's kind of a little what we need to do. It's the somewhere, let's say around here. Let's put also another bookmark. Okay, debug draw. So we have debug buffers, debug draw. And for it, it will have the debug shader. We'll use the bind function. Just a second. Sorry. Okay, so we are having the binding. Sorry, I'm back. We are having the axis VAO binded also. Most of the time, we need to have an OpenGL commands, draw elements, where we'll have the OpenGL constants, triangles, and what we will use, it will be 0, because we want to start, we don't have an offset on this drawing. At some point, for some elements we have the axis elements, size, but this is not enough. We need to multiply it with the core, geometry, element, line, size. Okay, because a line composed by 2 elements, you have 2 indices. So this will kind of result in something like 3, but if you are informing the GPU to draw just 3 vertices, it will kind of create some broken situation. So you need to specify the right amount of indices. If we are running right now, we might not see something on the screen. So we are not seeing it, but how we are fixing that? Okay, that's very important to kind of adjust it. So what we are doing inside? Just a second. Okay, here. So we have the uniform buffers. Let's have the uniform data. Let's put something like this. And for it, we'll have a camera data, camera, and let's call it, I don't know, world, map, camera, data, something like this. And what we'll have for it, of course, this one will kind of have the identity matrix for the view and the same for the projection. Okay, but in our case, what we are interested mostly it's in the, let's say, of the projection. So we have the projection, we are calling the ortho function, and we are using 0, 0. We'll have a static cast for as a float for our window width. We are using not 0, 0. It will be the height, and at the end, we'll have the 0.0. Okay. In some cases, you can have the near and the far planes. But in our case, because we are using OpenGL, we'll use the -1 and 1. When we'll implement the Vulkan, we'll need to do something like -1 and 0, or 1 and 0, something. But for now, this is more than enough. What we're gonna do, let's see. We need to kind of update this information. We need to send it to the, let's say, yeah, let's send it with everything we have. So somewhere around here or in the drawing, I don't know. I think we can do it. Let's put it here. For the camera, we need to do it just once. So we'll have something like camera UBO, upload, okay, core as bytes. Let's have world map camera data. And for it, we'll have an offset of, and we will use the camera structure, and the offset will be the view. I think this will result in something like 0. So this is like, instead of putting the 0, I want to kind of be sure that we are kind of offsetting the right members. Of course, if we are changing the orders for the view, everything will be messed up. But I hope we will not do that without knowing. So that's very important to take, or not to, it is important to know about it. Okay, dokie. So let's continue. So we are having the information for our, let's say, how to say, the information for our camera uniform buffers objects. That's one thing that you need to do most of the time. Of course, it can be sent before binding the shader. It's not a problem. What remains for us here? We can kind of have something like a math, okay, math4, and let's have a matrix here, simple matrix, or let's call it the axis matrix. Why not? Of course, we want to have it as the identity matrix. And what we will do for it, we will kind of, let's say, just a second, let's have it in the middle of the screen, let's say something like this. So axis matrix, okay, let's have like translation, just a second. So the translation, it's okay, it's that one. We are not doing anything. So for the translations, if we are kind of let it, let's say, into the default version, we might not see something on the screen. Let's just try it. Okay, probably it's somewhere around here, but what we want to do. Let's use something like this. Okay. So let's have it here multiplied with 0.5 to get the half of it. That's very important. Okay, and let's see if we can have it in the middle of the screen to see if this was the problem. That's quite okay. It doesn't work. Yay, the first things that are not working. But why it's not working? Because we are not doing anything with the transform UBO. We are not putting any data inside. Let's having, like, we need to put the matrix here, and we are using the offset of course my transform for now just have the matrix for the model. Later on, at some point, we'll use also the normal one, the normal matrix for it. But for now, I think it's more than enough. Okay. So if we are running right now, we should see something. Okay. Let's see. So we are seeing like a triangle. Okay. That's quite not good. I did not expect to see a triangle there, but it's very funny that it's a triangle. I don't know how, but there it is. But here should be the lines. Okay, that's very important. So if you're kind of having some information and you're not kind of using the right, you see the right, let's say the right primitive here for the rendering, you kind of can see some abomination. So it was a triangle made out of the axis geometry. So we are having this axis. What are, why are these very important for us? Is because I want to kind of, by using this, to be sure that every tile that I'm using, it's kind of centered correctly. Okay, what remains for us to do first? The first, I have a folder with a lot of elements. I mean the graphic elements. And I kind of need to add them. So I will start with this one first, but because my framework now doesn't support any PNG, supports just, let's say, the TGA format, I need kind of to convert it inside a, I don't know, GIMP file to a GIMP application to make it a TGA. So let's do that first. I will start just with this one first, and later on we'll just add one after another. Okay, dokie. So let's having here. Let's open it with just a second. Okay, let's open it with GIMP. Okay, just a second. Okay, we have GIMP. Because Photoshop, I also have Photoshop, but Photoshop somehow they did something with the TGA. They don't like it anymore. So I don't know if they like it at some point. But so we have these graphics. It's quite okay. And let's export this. Also, GIMP doesn't have something like. So let's have this fantasy game build. Let's have a new folder here. How to create a new folder. Let's have textures. Why not? We are inside the textures. And what we are gonna name this, we'll call it the okay, tile one, and that's it. TG. Okay, let's export it. We'll do a lot of these things. We also don't have something like some possibility to do the atlases for now, but at some point we'll implement such a thing because it's very important and very crucial for the implementation. So now let's check. We are having our textures. Sorry. So let's have here also a folder where we'll call it world, and let's move this tile one. Okay. So we are having the tile one. That's quite okay. What we need to do with it is very good question. First, let's choose a spot. So we are having something like we are having shaders, uniform buffers, debug buffers. Okay, uniform data here. World map, camera data, that's okay. Let's put it somewhere around here. And let's just have, we need a place where we can load the TGA. So let's call it, I don't know, images for now. Why not? And in here we'll have a constant auto. Of course, let's just include the core TGA or image. How is called? I think it's called images slash TGA image. This constant auto. Let's call it world tile one. I think it's enough for a name, right? Just a second, I want to check again the name. World camera. Let's call it just world camera data. Why not? Because it's already for the map, so we don't need a map there. Okay, images, and for it, it will be equal with images. TGA load, and for it, we'll have textures, world tile 1 TG. Okay, let's try to run, because if something is wrong with the path or so, we will kind of have an error there. So we didn't have the error. That's quite a positive message. So let's continue. Just a second. I want to see something. Okay. Give me a second to see something. Okay, good. I saw what I needed. So let's continue. Good. So we have the image here. That's quite okay. What it remains for us? We need to have, so here are the images, but now we need to have the textures. Okay. Because you are having the images as the information, but you need to kind of create a texture. So OpenGL texture, and we'll call it world1 texture. Very, very good name. Of course, let's include the OpenGL texture. Okay, that's quite good. So we are having this texture. The idea is to kind of have the following. We need to specify an OpenGL constants, and we need to specify that it's a texture 2D. Okay, that's quite very important. Let's have the world tile 1 texture create. And after that, we need to do something like this. Texture, and we are having the storage. And what we will use, it will be the, of course, we need to kind of call this image. It will be more appropriate. So we are having the width, we are having the height, and we need to specify for our storage OpenGL constants RGBA8, and we're specifying that we are using just one layer. Okay, so we don't have maps or any other stuff for our texture. Let's go further. Tile 1, texture, and we need to upload the information. And for the upload, we will use the same image width, height. The parameter here, it will not be A8 anymore, it will be just RGBA. We need to specify that we are trying to use the layer 0, which is because we specified one, but you know the thing with the arrays in general. And what remains for us to do? We need to specify here some information on how, or very similar with the buffer, on how the, let's say, the information from the pixels, it's kind of aligned, or the layout, let's say. So we are having OpenGL constants, and we are having here some unsigned byte. And at the end, the last parameter is very simple. We will just use the world image pixels. Okay. So now we are having this texture. That's quite okay. But what we will do further? So we are having the textures. That's quite okay. What remains for us? To have the geometries. Let's have it like this. So let's start with that. For geometry sprite, okay, because we are trying to create some sprites, we'll have something like world tiles geometry, something like this. And for it, we'll start with something like world tiles geometry, append, and we will add something like core geometry, sprite. Of course, we need to kind of go the beginning of the file here, and here we need to add another file, sprite. Okay, that's very important and is very useful and used by us. Okay, so we are having the sprite here. Let's go back here. So we are having the sprite. We are using the create method for which we are using the just a second. Okay. Because we are using some floats. What we will need to do, it will be something like world tile1 image width and of course height. Just a second, I have some parameters here. Okay, we're having this. And what I want to have also is to specify something like an origin or an offset, if you can put it like this. So we are interested in the actual size of the image, and let's say with these empty brackets, we'll kind of just have the origin in the middle of the image. Let's see if it is working. If not, kind of go for it. So we are having shaders, uniform buffers, uniform data, debug buffers. This is another thing. Images, textures, geometries. Good. Now let's have buffers, simple buffers, or let's call this other. So we are having the geometry. Now what we need to do is to have something like OpenGL. Okay, buffer. Just a second. Okay, buffer, world, tiles. Okay, and we'll call it VBO. Why not? Because we can. And we want to kind of have it aligned with the other part. So let's create it. That's very simple. And for the storage, we will use the geometry from the vertices here. Okay. The static draw, that's quite okay. Sorry, our AI did a problem. So OpenGL, EBO, that's good. The storage for the elements, that's quite okay. And what remains for us is to create the VAO, which kind of binds all the stuff together. Okie dokie. So OpenGL, wall tiles VAO. Why I'm doing just one buffer here? Because every element that we'll have, we'll have different variation on the tiles. The whole idea, the whole idea is to kind of, let's say, put it inside one big buffer, and kind of in the drawing to kind of use some offset. And in this way is my, let's say, more memory performant or efficient or so on, because we don't need to kind of bind again and again and again another VAO. It is kind of much easier and, like I said, more performant. Just a second. So we are creating this. What remains for us? World. We need to attach the VBO and the EBO. Now the AI kind of just put for us here some small bug. So it's not basic, it's the sprite one. Okay, that's very important that we checked the information and we don't rely blindly on the AI. For this, it's not the position here, is like the x coordinates. Okay, that's quite okay. 0, 1, we have two parameters, and just a second, it's quite okay with the float type. Good. So we are having the tiles. That's quite okay. What we can do further? We are having the debug drawing here. Let's have the world. Oh, here. For the world, we are kind of having some sprite shader binding. Okay. We'll have some math or world matrix. Why not? Sounds cool. Let's put it in the middle of the screen or in the middle of the window to be more precise. That's quite okay. Good. So what remains for us? We are having that. Let's send the information to the shader to know that, hey, we are having some other, let's say, matrix here. That's quite very important. Okay, and what remains for us is to kind of have something like world tile, VAO binding, and OpenGL commands throw elements. In this case, we want triangles. Okay, we want to have the world tiles geometry, element size, and of course, we want to use the size from the triangle. That's quite okay and important to do it in this way because otherwise it will not. If you want, you can go and say something like, "Hey, I want to use just 6." Okay, because we know for sure that in our sprite it's kind of like you have 2 triangles per sprite. Okay, so we can use 6 elements direct. The same can apply here also for the axis. Okay, you know that you have 2 elements. Uh, you have 3 lines which are composed by 2 elements. So multiply with 2, it's 6. I hope so. Okay, good. What remains for us here? If we are trying to kind of run the situation, let's see what we get. We are getting a very, very small tile here, which is black. Why is black? Is because we are not kind of, let's say, uh, here enabling the texture. So we are having some like, how is it called? World tile 1 texture. And we are can having the binding, but the binding is not that simple. The binding can go with something like core binding, and of course first core as base, because this binding it's any num. So core binding, very similar with what we had for the buffer. This is called texture, and we'll use albedo. That's it. Let's run. We might have still a problem, but we will try to solve it. Okay, that's not a problem. So let's continue. Just a sec. So we are seeing something that's quite okay. We are not having also something like a sampler for it. That's okay. I'm amazed that it's working without it. That's good. Maybe it's kind of using some default situation. But what we are having here, it's something like we are not using the blending. Okay. You can see my transparency is like black. So how we are fixing that? Buffer geometries. Let's put something like OpenGL, or I don't know, OpenGL pipeline. Hello, my friend, or I will say my old friend. You see, the streams are back. You asked about. So here we are having the pipeline. For the pipeline, we are using OpenGL pipeline. Of course, we are not having this folder. We need to include it. So OpenGL pipeline. Let's go back. So for the pipeline, we are just enabling the OpenGL constants. Okay, and for it, we'll have the blend mode. And if you already know, if you are enabling the blend mode, you need to specify some blending function. If we are trying to run right now, I don't know if it's working. It's laggy. Oh, sorry. I don't know if it's you or not. Okay. The stream health here on YouTube said that it's okay. I don't know exactly if it's laggy. Maybe some other person who is on stream maybe can help us if they also have the same situation. Okay, good. Let's try to continue to see if maybe the things will improve. Okay. So OpenGL, pipeline, blend. And for this blend function, we will use something like OpenGL, constants, and we'll use the source alpha. And of course, the last parameter will be 1 minus source alpha. And by having this, if we are running right now, we should kind of see things working. Okay. That's quite good. Is what I wanted to achieve. But if I'm going and making like a screenshot here, I can see that my tile is not aligned here, like correctly. And what I want to do further is to go inside the Photoshop because they have some nice feature there. So let's open the Photoshop. Okay. So if anyone else sits here on the stream, if they can confirm that the stream is laggy or not, it will be very helpful. Let's see if there is a problem or not. Okay, just a second. Now seems to be fine. Maybe it was something like, you are kind of across the globe, so a little far away from me. Okay, so now in Photoshop you have this tool that kind of lets you to measure some stuff. So let's see how many pixels do we have here. So we have something like 6. No problem. It can be also my side, your side. We are a little far. So, or maybe the YouTube servers, who knows. So we are having the 6 here on height, like this depth or how to call it. So for now, 6. What it remains for us is to go just a second here. Oh, sorry. Pinned. Good. So when we created this, we kind of have some option to kind of use an offset. So for this offset, what I will use, I will kind of try to put some 3 for now and see exactly how it will kind of behave to see if we need to put 3 or minus 3. Okie dokie. So it seems that it's 3. Let's make a screenshot. I know I should kind of have something like a zoom mechanism, but I'm not having for now. So it seems that like it's 3. So 3 or maybe 4. Why not? Maybe 4. Okay, let's make a screenshot. Okay, that's good. So this is why I added the axis in order to see that things are aligned here is very important for me. So it seems that now we are kind of having the first tile, which is kind of great. Okay, that's quite good. Now we can go and kind of, let's say, let's try first to move the camera. Okay, I want to move kind of around a little, like left, up, all that stuff. And after that, we'll kind of resume to not put the tile inside let's say, the middle of the screen. I will try to kind of put it like centered on maybe this tile. Who knows? So, how we are doing that? Okay, first, I think we need to do something with our input manager because that's very important to do in our framework. So, somewhere around here, why not? Or let's let the on close here. So, core input manager, input manager, and for it, what we are going to do. Window manager, input. Here, we're going to use another callback, which is on button update. in our case, this is a new project. Yes, this is a new project. Let's see where this is it. It's just a, let's say, a smaller scope in terms of the, like, similar with Project Stone, that or what I want to do there. This is a very simple one. It's still a tactical stuff game. Let's put it this way. Kind of, I'm having this small art. We want to put like some small and very quick prototype to see how it feels. This should not be the final graphics. The artist is very talented, and I saw some things that he is very capable to do. But what I wanted, I was like, hey, give me something very quick to kind of prototype the game, and after that we will see exactly if people will engage with the stream, if they will like the project or not, if they will have some feedback to kind of improve and all that stuff. And if that goes very well, we will kind of try to continue to work on it. So the whole idea is like, we don't know exactly if it will be a final game at some point, but at least we are trying to kind of put a prototype and to see exactly, I don't know, where it goes. That's the whole idea with this fantasy game. This is the name for now. Or Project Dust, because I'm trying to use like dust, stone, wood, stuff like that. I will call it Dust because it can be also magical or not. Give me 1 second now. Okay, so let's continue. So what we are having here. Exactly, it's like exactly, Project Dust can be like more magical or not at all. So Project Stone, it was let's say quite it is more ambitious than this one. This needs to be like a quick stuff, something that we can do in a few months. Project Stone, it was like it for it I planned like to have like some AI, complex AI there and all that stuff, to have entities that are moving on the map, like having their own life and all that stuff. But for this, no, it will be like something, the concept is like you'll have a keep in the middle of the map, and kind of dark forces will try to kind of come to the middle to destroy this keep or castle that you're having. But the whole idea is like you can kind of push back the enemies, and you will kind of unlock farms, I don't know, towers and all that, or quarries, or how this is pronounced. And in a way, they will kind of give you some bonuses and so on. And you will have like troops, and yeah, not like a tower. It will be a turn-based combat game. Like you'll have like it will not be a real time. It will be turn-based. You'll have your army, the attacker army and the defender one, and the whole idea, it will be like you'll have multiple, let's say, the bad armies, and the whole idea, they will behave similar with a tower defense, in terms of that on the world map they will try to come from the sides to the center, but it will be still in the turn-based situation. They will not move like you will have time to react. So they will move like we'll have a situation when a day passed, and you will see some banners which will represent on the world map. They will represent, let's say, some armies, and you will see that, hey, the red one kind of come very close to a farm. Let's go with our army and have a battle there, and it will kind of go into some scenario which will kind of have your army and their army and so on. And you will have some situations when some location will be corrupt, or let's say occupied by the enemy, and if you are kind of having a battle close to them and you unlock them, yeah, it's similar with tower defense mechanism. Like you are attacked, like everyone is coming to you, but you kind of, the whole idea of the game is to push back. It's like conquering, like trying to keep this, to go as far as you can on the sides. At some point you kind of can have like more armies. If a similar mechanism, I think there is in the total war games where you kind of start with a small region and after that you're kind of pushing back. I don't know this Lord's a mobile game, but total war games are on the similar situation. You're kind of having a region or for yourself, and you kind of need to push back. That's the idea that I'm trying to achieve. So the idea is like the armies are coming just after you. They will not try to do something very fancy in terms of the AI. We'll try to keep the minimal style. We'll kind of make it, we'll try to approach it as a table top game, or how it's called, a board game, like a physical one. We'll try to go with that direction in terms of the graphics, in order to not have so many animations, because it will be expensive in terms of the development time or the drawing time. So okay, so let's have the input manager here. The whole idea is to, like, in 6 months, I don't know, or to realize as soon as possible if the game is feasible, or if we are having some, let's say, players or potential players to, I don't know, to appreciate this game or to want more from this game. And if we are seeing that, hey, people are engaged, let's push the full force there. That's the whole idea that we want to kind of achieve. But for now, we need to do a lot of streams and to get back inside this. It's very strange to come back after 6 months of. I kind of stayed like 1 hour before I started the stream because I was like a little anxious about if I know how to do it anymore or not. So yeah. But I'm glad that you are here after, I think we have at least 1 year knowing each other, and from your side with the support by being here with some time. Yep. I'll try to put this more frequently. Like I think in the beginning, not daily, but we'll try to kind of make it to be more active. Like we need to still improve the framework, but we will kind of. So we are having the input there. That's quite good. We added the input. That's okay. I think a good thing for the input can be like, let's put it, I don't know, window input. Let's have something like window. Let's have something for the input and some zone for the. I think the input can be done after we are showing the window, doesn't matter. And let's have some OpenGL or graphics. Okay. Let's see if it's still running when we are showing the window. Okay, it's still running. So for the input here, what I want to do, very simple one. Input manager. Hello, Mr. Christian. Don't forget about the like. I will ask you tomorrow about it. So we are having the actions, assign, and what we are assigned here, core, input, and we are using the code. And we'll use just a second, the key escape, because I want to do that. And for it, I don't know. Let's use that one. Sometimes, like I said, AI can kind of not be supported. So we need the window active. So we'll do something similar with what we did here. Okay, so the whole situation here was to, when we are pressing escape now, don't laugh. Our window should be closed, but it's not closing. Why it's not closing? Because we need to kind of, in the while loop here, in the update, let's have something like input manager update. Okay, that's quite good. Now pressing escape, the window is closed. That's quite cool. What remains for us? Like I said, let's move a little the situation. We are interested in moving the camera. So how we are doing that? For the camera, let's do like here. Let's have something like camera movement. Okay, and in here we'll have kind of like a constant auto camera movement. And what we'll have here, and we need of course to edit first, we need to include our core, let's say time class that we have. Okay, so also here, final setup, maybe not this. We'll have a core time, and the time need to start, of course. That's very important. Okay, just a second. So it's the start time, but what we need to do is like time, we need to call the tick, okay, to update the delta time, especially. That's very important. Just a second. So, okay, that's quite okay. So let's get back to the movement. That's quite okay. For the moment, let's get back to it. Core time delta time, and we are multiplying it, I don't know, something like this, some big value. Let's see how it will behave. And if I'm having my input manager, just a second. If I'm having my input manager and the state for it, it's pressed on the core, just a second, input, code, and key W, will do something. And what we will do, it will be something like world, camera data, view, and we'll use the translate. And for the translate, we'll use the 0.0 and all that stuff. Just a second. Let's see that it's moving up at least in order to not spend the time to write some stuff and after that to see and or to realize that hey, it's not working. So let's do something. Okay, with W we are going up, 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 up. Okay, that's quite good. Let's do the same scenario for S. Okay, where we want to go down. Else if, let's see if the AI will be smarter. It is smarter. And let's do the A and W. Okay. So let's see for the A, I think it should be plus, and for the W should be minus, but let's see how it behaves. That's quite important. W, it's going to the right and left. So now we are able to navigate, let's see. Okay. How or what we are doing. We are doing the next second and final setup. And let's do here the gain, I don't know, logic, something like this. So we are having the tile. Let's try to kind of generate like a tile map. So to go something like on a row situation here and on the columns. What we can do in order to not kind of write everything here, we can go into the core and let's have something like a new header. I don't know, let's call it tile map or map segment, or I don't know how. Tile map segment. Let's have it like this. Okay, tile map segment. In here we'll have a namespace core because I like to use namespace. most of the time. So what we are going to do? First, we need to include our tile map segment. Yep, let's see if it works. Of course, should struct. Uh, let's have something like tile map segment, or let's have it as a class. For now, let's have it as let's have it as a tile map segment. Okay, this is a struct. What we're gonna have it? Just a second. Okay. Sorry, my son is preparing to sleep, so sometimes I need to kind of speak. So that's why I'm kind of stopping. Sorry for that. So we'll have an array. Okay, that's very important. Maybe let's create this as a class and let's have something like tile map segment. Okay. And what I want to do also, it's something like a new header called tile. Okay. What we'll have for this tile, namespace, of course, core, a very simple struct tile. And what we're gonna do for now, nothing. But we need it here. Include tile HPP. That's quite okay. And inside here, very, very, very important, we'll have the tile. And what we want to do, we'll have like 10 by 10. Why not? That's very, let's say, useful. Sorry, not 10 by 10. It will be like 20. Okay, 20 for now. Just a second. Let's do it like this. First, let's put the public situation because this is very important. I want to add some, let's say something like this, auto begin, and for it here we'll return the how is pronounced, the iterator, or how is the begin situation for the files. Okay, so also we need to include the array. Okay, so we are having our tiles. Let's do something for the end. So this is like an iterator, how it's pronounced in English. I don't know exactly. Okay, and for it we'll have something like this. What I need to do further, but let's do it like this. So we'll have a template for it. This will be like a template class, which will have a size t, which will represent the rows. We'll have size t for the columns, but we will call it like this with a short version of it. And what we'll have here, it will be like rows multiplied by the columns. Okay, in order to not kind of, so the whole idea is like you are specifying the rows and the columns for this map segment, but the whole idea is like we are putting this into an array, like let's say the memory will be uniform, like each tile will in the memory will be like one after another, but we are having ways to kind of let's say get access to it. Okay, so first thing that I want to do for this one is like static auto rows, and of course we need to return the rows and the columns. That's very important. Okay, and what we want to do also is to have something like a function. I think this can be done like private. Why not? To have something like auto tiles, and this will return something like this. Will return something that, of course, first we need to include md span, and for it we'll have the std md span, which will kind of have the type tile. We will kind of use something like std extend. Okay, size t, because we need to specify the, let's say, the type of the size, and we are using the, just a second, the rows and the columns. And at the end, of course, we need to specify the tiles data. What this will do? This is very simple with what we have, or very similar with what we have for the buffers. It will just create some, let's say, some viewer for our memory. So now we are having here, like I said, an array. We know that the arrays most of the time, like, or the array that are looking like this, are like on one dimension. So with this extension, with this mdSpam, we are kind of creating a viewer to this memory and this kind of multi-dimensional span. So it will kind of not allocating the memory or something. It will just kind of grab like a view, let's say like a viewer for this memory. Okay, just a second. So in this way, we'll be kind of, let's say, I don't know why it's complaining about this. Too many templates, blah, blah, blah. Extend. Okay, now it's good. So we're having like a mechanism to kind of specify like, hey, map segment tiles, and I want the tile from 0 and 0, okay, from on the row and on that column. Jeff gives me a second to kind of get a hug from my son, so I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So let's continue. We're having this. What is the problem? Do not match the rule of the parameter. Template size t rows. Why? Why it doesn't match? Ah, okay, it's just a naming. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We will ignore it for now. So we are having this tile map segment. What we are going to do with it? Let's see first. Just so let's go back into the main. We included that already. Let's go into our game logic. And in here, we'll have something like core, tile map, segment, of course. And let's have something like 14 by 14. Just give me a second. Okay. So it's 14 by 14. That's okay. Quite good. And let's call it, I don't know, world tile segment. I don't know. Just simple as it. And what we're going to do first, let's have it like 1 by 1. Okay, I want just to have one segment. That's okay. We don't care more about it. So that's first what we need to do, and it will be very useful for our tile to declare something like float x and float y. This is the position that will be used for the, let's say, for the drawing. No, I think it's not enough. Not enough. You need more. You need no, 69. It's too old. Put more VRAM there. But thanks for the comment. Okay, so for the tile we need the x and y. That's simple. Let's go. What we are gonna do now? Oh, it's good. It's good. 16. It will be enough. I can kind of go wild with the allocations on the GPU. I will be safe here with your graphic board. So let's go crazy. So for now, we'll do it here. Later on, we will kind of put it inside the tile map segment because it makes. Okay, what we are going to do first? Constant auto. And let's have like world tile segment. Okay. And let's have it like half width. Okay. Which will be the following. We need to have it as a float, and it will be the tile, or how I call it, world tile 1 image width, and we need a half. Okay. No problem. And of course, world, we need the half height. Okay, good. We are having this. Let's convert it like this. Now this will be, let's say, or let's call it world tile. Let's have it like world tile half, something like it's enough and short. So for auto row equal with 0, just a second, guys. Okay, I'm back. So for the row 0, sorry, row smaller than world tile segment, and now we can call this rows and plus plus row, of course. And of course, another one, which is not something from DJ Khalid, is just something from me here. So what we are going to do, we are going kind of treat this segment as a grid, and we'll try to do something with each tile. Okay. And the first thing that we want to do, it's something like in this, we need to kind of or let's put it like this. Just a second. Let's have something like auto tile. And I think instead of not calling this, just a second, auto world tile or world segment tiles equal with the world tile segment tiles. Good. Let's see if this is working. Okay, it's an empty span. Okay, that's quite good. And we will just use this from now on instead of calling this like over and over and over and over again. So we are having a tile which will be equal with the world segment tiles or with the world tiles. I think we can call it like this for now. Why not? And the world tiles, of course, at the row and the column. Okay, that's why we are using the empty span there, because like I said, we are having our array. It's just one dimensional array, just one dimensional array in the memory especially. And the whole idea is that with this empty span, we are kind of getting a viewer, we are getting that memory, but the whole idea is that it's kind of transformed and you kind of can treat it as a grid, for example, to be, I don't know, more easy to understand. So you are treating that as a grid most of the time. Good. So let's continue. Okay, so we are having the tile. What we are doing for the tile X, and for the tile X, what we're doing, it will be like column multiplied by the width, okay, or half width, sorry, and the same for the Y. Or if we want for now, we can kind of go like without it, okay, to see that it will kind of be placed at some point. Let's put it like this. Okay, we can convert it to this structure binding, but we don't want for that. We don't want that for now. And what remains for us, it's the following. Somewhere, just a second, where it was okay. We are doing the binding, and this we can do something like constant auto tile in the, and we'll not use the world tile segment because we don't want to call that anymore. It will be like world tiles, and we are doing a for, like a simple iteration. And why this is allowed? Because we wrote the begin and end iterators, and these are very helpful. And it will kind of, instead of doing the same scenario that we did here with two fors, we're just kind of looping in just one dimension. Okay, so it will go over the array. So in terms of the performance, this is good. Okay, so we are having the, just a second, let's have the drawing. Okay, so what we are doing for the drawing, we are moving especially this. here. So we're having the world matrix. We can simplify this with just a very simple matrix. Okay. And what we are going to do, instead of having the width and that part, we are using the tile X and tile Y. And the question is, why it's not working? But let's see. Okay, world tile map. It doesn't. Okay, it knows that is a tile. Let's try to run to see why is the problem there. Okay, transformation matrix tile X Y. Let's see if it's working. Okay. A begin found for this type. Oh, sorry. Yes, the AI in this case, just this time, once the AI was correct. So we need to specify the world tile segment, okay? Because this object has the beginning and the end, not the other one. So my bad there. Okay, so let's run the project now. And we should see something like nothing. Okay, so we are seeing something. Yay. Ooh. Just a second. This is my very advanced way to kind of check the sprites. So it seems that we have a lot. No, we have one by one. Okay, so it should not be. Just a second to check the actual. Okay, the edge is a little darker, so that's okay. So that's quite good. We are having like tile X. It's there. That's quite okay. Let's put also this at 0.0. Let's see if it will kind of come back there. Okay. Okay. So let's use again the advanced technique to check the sprites. So yes, it is aligned correctly in 0.0. That's good. Kidaki, maybe I should at some point change the camera to kind of, let's say, be more aligned with the tile that we have right now, to not go like sliding every time we are kind of starting the, let's say, the project. I think we can have something. I don't know if I can close that. No. Let's not focus on this anymore. Maybe some pragma regions or moving the code to another file, it will be more helpful here. But for now, why not? Let's let it like it is. What we're gonna do further. So we are having this. Let's try to have, so we have one row. Let's try to kind of increase it with 4. Okay, so I'm kind of expecting to have one row with 4 columns. Okay, how we are gonna do that? So now we are kind of seeing that the things are moving a little, they are moving slightly, but they're kind of mostly on top of each other. Like you can see the edge here, it's a little darker. So yeah, good. How we are gonna solve that? A first thing that you can do is to multiply this with the world tile half width. Okay. And what you can do further, you can kind of multiply also the, let's say, this with height. But we will not use here the row. It should be the column all the way, okay? Because we will treat the row here. But let's see how it behaves for now. Okay? To see the direction that the code is choosing. So it seems that we're having one row. So the row will be like this, and the columns are like this. So that's quite okay. So we are having the rows and the columns. That's perfectly correct and likely to work. What I want to do further. Further, we need to have like an offset for the x. Okay, we need to move the x. So we'll have something like constant auto, and let's call it offset x, of course, and we use the row multiplied with the world, or let's say with the half. Okay, and what we are going to do with this x, we are kind of having like here with minus. Okay, so we are kind of putting some offset for the, let's say for the column to kind of move correctly. Just a second to see that we are doing something with it. So the whole idea why I'm using this with minus, because I want to go into the other direction. Why? Because I'm having some tiles like you can see here. Some tiles that I have this, let's say deep, or how to call it, depth. And if I'm kind of going with the direction from left to right, these will kind of come on top of the previous, the drawed tiles. So the whole part is like to go from the right to left. And in this way, to be sure that like you'll not have this depth like very visible. Okay. What we need to go to do further? Let's try to do further some things. I think one way it will be let's put two, let's say two lines, two rows, sorry, to see how it behaves here now. So now we are having two rows, but they are not like correctly, let's say, stacked on each other. So we need to do something about the offset for the y also, okay? Because we will have here the offset for the y row, and we'll multiply it with the half height, okay? And what we're gonna do for the y, we'll use the, towards the offset y, and we'll put a plus, okay? Because I want things to go down, not up. With minus, we'll go up. I want things to go down, okay? Something like this, okay? We are kind of getting ahead of this thing. If we are doing, for example, again, one row, things will look, let's see the direction. So this is the direction. Now this is a row, but what we are doing, we are kind of treating different as the position. Okay, we are going from left to right. If we are going to use the plus, it will go from this to the right. Okay, but for our case, the row it's a little reversed. Like in terms of the last tile that is visible, it will be the first one in terms of the memory. Okay, but the first one in terms of the visible part, it will be the last. Sorry, I will take 1 second to drink some water because in almost 2 hours I didn't drink any water. So I will be back. And by the way, if you have any questions, things like that, comments, don't be afraid. I am back. So we're having this, like you can see, we are having some deep, small, let's put it this way. Let's go back with the very advanced tool for zooming. I have a note to implement this in our framework also, but I will do it at some point. So as you can see, we have a kind of half of the tile there. So what we can do to correct that, it will be here to kind of, let's say minus, I think I put 4.0. Let's check it to be sure. Here, yes, it's 4.0. Let's see if it's not too much. Maybe it was in terms of the offset, but maybe in terms of the drawing, it will be too much. I think it will be too much in terms of the draw, but okay. Oop, not that one, this one. It's not that, I think it can be like, I don't know, I will let it like this and it doesn't matter in the end because this is not the final graphics, but I will kind of be sure to kind of communicate this aspect to the artist. That this for me it's like 8, but somehow it's not fully 8. So 8 but not 8. Okie dokie. So let's continue. Okie dokie, let's continue. We kind of, let's say, put this offset. I don't know, this can be a variable, why not? But we'll not do it for now. Let's run. Again, we have 1 and 4. Let's go wild. Let's put 14 by 14 now. And let's go crazy. We should have a big map. So that's quite nice. It's like, I think because we are having that or not. No, yes, it's one pixel there is like, here you can kind of see it. But yeah. So we have a map. Let's prepare the money to buy this wonderful game. We have a map. That's quite okay. For now, we are having a simple way to generate this map. What we can do further. Further, what we can do is to go and just a second, we'll have la la la. Okay, what we can do is to do something like tile x, or no, let's let it like x and y, and we can have something like this tile map segment. Okay, and let's have something like this. Okay, auto init, and we'll have something like this. And first, what we want, constant int for UI int 32, or no, sorry, float tile width. Let's put it like this, and float tile height. Okay, or we can kind of even have like a width. No, let's put it with tile because we want to kind of know exactly what we did after a few years here in the code. So it's very important to kind of put tile there. Okie dokie. Just a second. Good. So tile width. For this, we'll have the rows. We can use directly the rows. That's okay. We can use directly the columns from the parameters here. I think in the end, we don't need any more the rows and the columns. I don't know. Let's put a comment. Why not? Remove this. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And what remains for us? Width. Here we having the tiles. No, we want to have the tiles like this. Okay, that's quite okay. We want the tiles like that. And we want the height here. I don't know, maybe, but we don't want to kind of, okay, no, let's have it something like auto tiles equal with tiles. And let's do it like, okay, we don't need to have probably to be a problem because we are having the same name. Let's do it like this, tiles. And let's see first what the compilers will say. Okidoki. We can make this constant. What? We don't want to make this constant. It can be made constant. What? That's not correct. And for it here, we can kind of just have the world file segment in it, and we can have these two parameters, world tile half height. Okay, this is not needed anymore. And that's it. I think we can have it like this, even clear. So let's see if the magic there is still valid. Okay, we cannot have the tiles before it's initialized, blah, blah, blah. Let's have it, just a second. Let's call it a grid. Why not for now? Grid, okay. Much easier and makes no sense at all. But the whole idea is that it lets us to compare. So we're kind of having the same scenario. That's quite good. That's quite useful, I would say. And now what remains for us? So this maybe at some point, I don't know. We can let it like this. Let's say init positions. How to call it? But the whole idea is that we will use these tile segments a lot, and we kind of don't want to do that every time. Maybe this tile width can go also as a parameter for the tile map segment. Why not? And in this way, we kind of don't need to pass it every time. Let's see. Let's let it like this for now. Okay, for now, I think it's enough. Okay, not enough for the stream. Let's make it to 4 hours. Let's stay until the morning to make a lot of views. Why not? So we are having these world tile segments. That's quite okay. What it remains for us to do? So we are having this big tile. So this was the small one, but we have also a big one. So let's try to load that also. Okay, the big one. So for the big one, we'll have the GIMP again. GIMP is still open here. So this was the small one. This is the bigger one, a little bigger. The whole idea of why we are using two different tiles is that the tiles in the, let's say, the local map or the combat, the battle map, how you want to call it, they will have a different graphics with more details, more stuff, and all that stuff. And in the world map, it will be more simple in order to not have a lot of noise there. And maybe we will, I don't know, work more on the dimension at some point if this is not what we want. That's why it's important to kind of do things with, I don't know, prototyping graphics that is not, let's say, final, because you can go and work. So this is the world. Let's have something for the battle. Okay, this will have the world and the battle. Okay, the battle will be something, the map for the surprise for the battle. Okay, so how we're gonna call it? It will be probably tile 1G. That simple. Okay, so let's go back. Let's see. Okay, so we'll have one tile. Okay, let's go back to the scenario where we loaded. So let's take it from the top. Let's sort also this. This is not from here. This is for here, but this is already implemented. Good. This is for, sorry. Okay. Let's align this situation. Good, good, good. So, top to bottom, no shaders. We don't care about the shaders. I think it was called Pragma region shaders, something like this. Okay, Pragma region, and in it, we can have something like Pragma and the region. And okay, we have region shaders. And now things are looking like this. So we don't care about shaders. We will not work on the shaders anymore soon. It's just one shader that we are going to use, the sprite one. Maybe at some point we will kind of add things like, just a second, we will add things like some color for the sprite because we are not supporting that at the moment. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we are having our region with the shaders. We don't care. We don't care about the uniform situation. So let's have a Pragma region uniform buffers. Okay. And we'll have an entity. Okay. So this can be collapsed also. Uniform buffer object. Okay, uniform buffer objects. Let's put with buffer. Okay, good. Uniform data, we let it for now because we'll add more to it. And surprise, the first thing that we will add, it will be the core data camera, and we'll call it battle camera data. Okay. And surprise, it will be the same default as the world camera data, but the aspect that is different is that the view will be different. Okay, so they will move at different movement speeds, and the whole idea is that if the world map should kind of remain at the same position that it was moved, but the battle one, it will be kind of adjusted every time, depend on the location of the combat and any other aspect it can be. So that's why we are adding two of them. Debug buffers, we don't care about the debug buffers, so Pragma region, debug buffers, add, not like that, it'll be like that. Let's having this one, so this will be like end region, that's okay. We need to collapse that also. So in this way, things are more clear. We can see the stuff. We are having the images. Let's do that. Battle tile 1 image, TGA loader, battle tile 1 image. Good for AI. Knows how to kind of, let's say, suggest the right instruction. Good. Okay. We have the textures. That's quite good. I would not split this. Let's keep it. I don't know. Let's have an OpenGL. So we have the image texture battle tile. Okay, that's quite good. We are having that and that. That's quite okay. Always check the code generated by the AI. Now, let's have a core geometry sprite. And let's have it like battle tiles geometry. That's very important. Until now, it's kind of similar in terms of what we're trying to achieve. Create tile battle, and here we'll put 0 because we don't know exactly the offset. Okay, how much let's say the battle tile it is. Okie dokie. So we are having that. World tiles. Good. Sometimes I'm mixing the Romanian with English, but that's the way it is. Okay. Yeah, element buffers. Okay, storage. And now let's add the vertices, which is kind of similar. but I want to have different buffers, okay, because the elements in it, they'll be different. Okay, dokie. So we're having that. We don't need this. But what we need is like to have another map. So constant auto, battle, tile half, blah, blah, blah. And like this. And core, tile map segment. I will not put it like, it will be something like 14 with, I don't know. Let's put it with 28, okay? For now, we are having that. It's that simple. Good. And what we are doing further? Further, we need to kind of somewhere around the input. Okay, here. Key escape. No, these are not. It is needs to be in the game logic. So into the game logic, I'll have like input manager and not state. It will be actions assign. Here, let's have a boolean, which will be like petal. It's active, it's false. And for it, we'll add something like sorry, it will be like battle active. Okay, just a second. And like this. I hope I kind of nailed it. Okay, dokie. Oh, not. I didn't nail it. Let's see again. Okay, it was first this one. Okay. Sometimes there is a curse to know your or not know your frame. Constant core. In here I will put the space and here. Good. And for the battle active, the battle will kind of shift. Okay, this can be made auto. That's quite okay. Battle it's active. When I'm pressing space, I'm kind of switching between these two states. Okay, a battle is active and is not. Okay, something like this. Now, nothing visible at all. Okay, as expected, because we didn't do anything, let's say. Okay, dokie. So, what do we want to do first? We want to do something like this. Camera movement, wall draw. So, if we'll do something like if the battle is active, do some. Okay. Else, do the other. Which the other thing is like drawing the world. Okay. Let's see. This is the one axis matrix. This will remain the same. We don't care to kind of having twice. It's not needed. So this is the debug drawing. This will remain the same. So let's see what we will do. We'll just copy and paste this situation. But this time we need to adjust. Okay. So for the battle map, I think we can still let it the same movement. But what it will be different? The battle camera date, okay? Because like I said, we are trying to kind of move on a different view. And we are updating the right information. If we are using Unity or Godot or any other existing game engine, you don't need to worry about this. It's kind of happening with the magic behind the scenes most of the time. Of course, you need to adjust the position of some metrics, but in the end, it's like you don't care about the uniform buffer objects. But behind the scenes, this is what happens. So we are having the beta there. The sprite shader binding, I think it's not needed. We can go and be kind of clever here and have it just once. Okay, because it's not needed. And for the world drawing, we're having the world tile segment. So it's the battle tile segment. That's okay. We're having the matrix here. And what remains for us? The matrix, and here is the battle tile 1 texture. And of course, the battle tile VA or something. Good. The other parts remains the same. We can kind of blindly follow them. When we'll have like an atlas situation here, we'll not need to bind this texture again and again. We'll have like a bigger texture, but okay. So yay, we kind of, you see, if I'm pressing space, I'm kind of having this battle map. This is like where the battles will happen. Okay. It will be like in a map like this. But the situation is like the whole idea is like this. If let's bring the concept. If, for example, for two, I'm having these banners, okay? The purple represents the dark side, let's say the red, the good side. So if I'm having, let's say, a banner here for the dark side and one for the red here, okay, I am having two tiles, one after one near each other. If I'm going into the combat, this will look like this one, okay, like into the same scenario. If I will do it like this, the combat map should look like this. Okay, it will kind of having, instead of having 14 with 28, we will have 28 with 14. Okay, in order to have this look, because I want the player to kind of have these small details, like to kind of put it in a strategic way on which side to act. Why? Because each tile will have like an element. For example, something, the most common one will be with grass, but at some point we'll have swamps. And for example, if I'm choosing to battle from a swamp perspective, half of the, let's say, half of the combat map, it will be like with swamp tiles on it, or let's say mostly like 80% of them. And the whole idea is that your units, if they will move through that part, they will kind of be a little slowed down and all that situation. Okay, so that's why I kind of, let's say, choose to do it like this. Okay, it needs to reflect somehow two tiles, let's say, near to each other. Good. What I need to do also inside my big, I need to go and open the Photoshop and, of course, control the zoom mechanism. And I need to use the ruler here to see how big is my, so this is 10. Okay, that's okay. I think we can quit Photoshop now because we don't need it. So that was 4. Here, like I said, 10. Let's put 5.0 minus 5.0. But let's also put that here. So it's 5.0. Let's hope things are aligning. If not, we will need to work on that. Let's space. Okay, things are aligning correctly. Let's use again uh, the tool, the super tool, the Mickey tool, micro. Okay, so it seems that somehow, you see, it's not aligned 100%. So it might be 8, it might be 10. Who knows? I put it with 5, but these such details can be kind of, let's say, put at some point, and it's kind of not that visible in a way. But if in the final art, so we align also the, just a second, let's make a, yeah, it's just like 1 pixel or almost nothing, depends on the viewer, let's say. Okay, so we have the battle map, we have the world map. That's one thing that we can have. That's good. Okay, dokie. So let's see what we can do further before we are going to sleep. Maybe I will stay some extra minutes. So we are having this, or maybe I think we can put we can close this stream and let's say continue tomorrow. Okay, and tomorrow we can put the buildings that we can have. Okay, we can work on this elevation. Okay, we can work on this elevation with the tiles. We can kind of spawn the units on the combat map, and yeah, there will still be some things to do, but not tomorrow because tomorrow I need to go and I need to attend a wedding. But in the weekend, I will for sure do. I will try to do it for each day of the weekend. So I'll see you in 2 days probably. If you have any question, if you have any comments, you want to ask more, I think the stream will kind of stop here. I think it's not enough, but enough. So now it's time for questions, discussions, while while YouTube is trying to prepare the thumbnail. Okay. So for me personally, I'm good with the progress that I'm having. It seems that we kind of had a few people on the stream. That's quite okay. I like that. And like I said, in the weekend, not tomorrow, in weekend, in the both days, we'll try to add the units to have the concept of the army. Okay, that's very important. We'll try to have that concept, and we will try to add also the buildings to have something like a system where the buildings will be corrupted. I need in my framework for now, because I don't have it and I need it, I need to add some ray casting with, let's say, with a sprite, with a rectangle, because I'm not having that yet. The ray casting, it's made just for the boxes. So I need to add that because at some point, when you put two banners near to each other, it will kind of put some, I don't know, I have some swords, and it will put something like two swords between them, and the whole idea that will kind of be like a button, and you need to press it. Also, when you kind of press on some building, I would want to kind of have, let's say, a transition to that combat, not to press space like I'm pressing right now. So the whole idea is that we still have a lot of things to do, but yeah, let's hope that more people will join when we will have, let's say, more nice graphics, more progress on this prototype. Why not? Very important. And if let's say, the project will kind of, I don't know, exceed the prototype phase, maybe we'll kind of create a playlist here on the channel. And of course, we will continue to work more frequently. Like I said, if you have any questions, I think I will stay for another minute or so because I'm waiting for YouTube to generate my thumbnail. Because I'm not good at editing stuff, so most of the time I'm letting YouTube to take their best shot. Okay. So it seems that we don't have any question, any comment. I hope it was pleasant for you. It was a little strange for me because, like I said, previous stream was like 6 months ago, and before that I kind of did more streams on another channel, so it was kind of very okay for me and at least familiar. But I think in time, with each stream, I will kind of open a new door. So let's check again the thumbnail. It seems that it's not visible yet. Probably they changed the duration or not. Who knows? Okay, it seems that I'm having a thumbnail. Okay, that's quite good. That's quite nice. So, guys, last chance for questions. If you have any questions, now is the moment before I go. If not, I will go. Because it seems that I'm having a thumbnail. That's what a streamer most of the time wants, to have thumbnail generated by YouTube. Looks nice, fine. And I hope that it will bring more viewers on the channel. Good. It seems that we don't have any questions. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And if you like the video, don't forget to kind of give it a like. It will help the channel, of course. That's for sure. And like I said, thanks for being here and see you in the weekend. Okay, we will stream in the both days and we'll try to kind of make a prototype here. Of course, things are still missing from the framework. It's a very early framework. It doesn't do that much yet, but at some point, I hope it will improve and things will be more nice. So, thanks for watching. Have a nice day, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.